But I also trust in my abilities enough to know that I can carry a conversation with people.
Can you? What? You're a good conversationalist?
They're not with you.
Come on and visit for any occasion. Don't keep patting down waiting. Comics and conversation. Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with Patrick Brower and Haley Desort.
That's right. You heard it directly from James himself. Haley is back. Welcome back, Haley.
Thank you for having me. I love that intro. I feel very honored and I feel very special right now.
I've told you time and again that I will attempt to steal your enthusiasm and basically energy vampire you for as much as I can.
I mean, it's yours for the taking at this point since you just gave me an official introduction. Wow, honestly, what I wouldn't...
Look, the episode after you were on, Dal told everybody he is more than willing to step aside for the new generation.
Oh, gosh.
Which is weird because he's a decade younger than I am, so if anybody should be stepping aside, it's me. But I'm not letting him have you on this podcast. It's you and me or nothing.
I just love that after one podcast, I'm basically ready to take over. It's like I'm conquering something.
I mean, I told you after we recorded that neither of us have the time, but I would love to do an entirely separate comics podcast with you because that is how inspiring your fandom is to me. As someone who's been doing this for a very long time, I am at a point where I will leech off of your youth as much as possible.
I know you, well, just so everyone who is listening knows, we are currently in my kitchen. And
this is the second episode in a row where we're eating in someone else's house as this is being recorded.
We have pizza and beer, but prior to recording this, for several hours, Patrick has been looking through all of my short boxes.
This wasn't just a cursory look. This was a deep dive into literally every single comic book Haley has in this apartment.
Yep.
From things she literally just bought.
Yep.
To...
that have not categorized and or put in the short box, and then everything in the short boxes.
So tell me a little bit about your boxes, because these are very unique boxes I've not seen before. They're wooden, they're modular, you build them, but they're stackable, and they have fun, like, puzzle-type lids.
Yeah, so what I love about them is that they have an acrylic front that you can place a comic on it, like, or inside of it, so that you can display a comic if you're kind of wanting to build, like, maybe this is your X-Men short box. You could put an X-Men cover in front to then display, and it looks really...
You know, Haley, back in my day, we would tape an index card with a scribbled letter on the front to let you know what box it was. What is this newfangled acrylic drop-in of an entire issue? You kids have it all.
Well, to be fair, I take a lot of pride in aesthetics, and I like my house to be very pretty, and I refuse to collect comics unless I could find an aesthetically pleasing way to store them, because there was just no way I was ever going to have tons of white cardboard boxes in my home. Like, that was just never going to be
That's
me.
why you rent a storage locker. You never have to look at them.
Exactly. I understand that for you, and also I want them in my home. So I came across Romany House Boxes, which is a small business, and Patrick and Laura are just, like, truly...
Not me.
Not you. Are such gems of, like, humans, and he started making vinyl boxes, like, to hold records as well as comics, and I came across them on Etsy, and they actually have, like, a website, and I just started buying a bunch of boxes, to say the least, because I was accumulating books so quickly, and I've been able to stack about 4 on top of them. I mean, they're not as, like, click-in as, like, B&W boxes, but they are...
A lot of those have specific hardware you
Yeah.
put in behind the scenes that people don't see to lock them together.
Yeah.
And make it so once they're connected, you can't move one box at a time. They're a unit.
Oh.
As someone who used to have the BCW system locked together as our back issues for the store, that's great for stability, but you can't change it once you set it up.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I've never had any of those boxes. Like, I kind of just dove in with Romany House boxes. And
Can you spell Romany for people?
Yeah, it's ROA... Wait, no.
I would guess ROMANY.
I have to just, like, look at it or spell it out. Like, I can't just... For anything,
I will reiterate while she's looking up that we have been looking at comics and drinking 4 hours before we started recording.
This is true, though. I'm not drunk, so I don't want anyone to think. I just...
Did you know that my beer has twice the alcohol as yours?
Does it really?
Yeah.
So I should drink one of those.
I'm drinking Unibrow's Le Fin du Monde.
I am drinking Not Your Father's Root Beer.
For anybody who listened to last episode, it was the exact same beer I was drinking at Ryan Brown's house.
So it is spelled ROMANY and then house HOUSE. And then their website is romanyhouseboxes.com. And if you do use the code Shy Comic Girl, CHI Comic Girl, you will get 10% off your order, which is super exciting. I had emailed them about some like extra parts and told them how much I loved their boxes, and then they had decided to become a channel sponsor afterwards, which was like really freaking cool. I remember just like kind of spazzing out of excitement because I've purchased from them for such a long time, and I honestly really love the display that I have going on in my home.
And I can tell you that having seen those boxes and handled them today, I like them enough that I asked Haley to specifically talk about them on this episode. This is not a sponsored ad. This is me saying, these are really cool. Tell people how they can get them.
Yeah, he went through all 9 boxes of Romany House boxes that I have.
She's got a lot of cardboard ones too.
I have 3.
But not white cardboard.
They're the design ones, the Peach Momoko, the Jane Foster Thor. Those are what I buy.
The Marco Cicchetto Dark Reign.
Yeah. I bought those. Those are the books the boxes I buy in a pinch when I need to order some more Romany House boxes, but I've accumulated books too quickly that I'm like, I need them to not sit on a stack on my floor, and then I just walk over to a comic shop and I buy them.
Nice. One of my favorite boxes is a BCW hard black plastic with a like fold-out snap-in lid, which are great for stacking, but not great for ease of getting, like nothing slides out, because the top opens like I can't think of how to say what this motion I'm doing to Haley is. Like a drawbridge opening.
Yeah, there you go.
And so you can't, like drawer boxes are my favorite because you slide out, boom, it's there. Mm-hmm. And the Romany House boxes are still the regular, they go top down, but they have a nice like puzzle piece lid that fits in so you can stack them. But the drawer boxes to me are always the most easiest access, but you know, they're not cheap. Quality boxes are not cheap. Even a regular half box at Challengers is like, I don't know, $8.99 I think. But
Romany House boxes are on the pricier end. I will say they're about like.
But they're so much more aesthetically pleasing.
They really are. They're around. I think they had to up it just because material costs have gone up because of inflation. So I think around like $60, but they're currently having a Christmas sale. They've started, or a holiday sale. I shouldn't say Christmas, holiday sale, and you can get the boxes for about $40 now, which is amazing. And I think my code also applies to that. They were just telling me about it recently, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go buy some now because I need some more to fill my cubby. As much as I love that Jane Foster cardboard box, I am all for symmetry and cohesion.
Sure, and they do look great, and I would definitely recommend them for somebody who has under 10 boxes.
Do you have I can send you a picture of it to add to the show notes if you do show notes
sure.
ever.
Yeah.
You guys can see inside my house.
Sorry, I took a bite of pizza and then she stopped talking.
I'm so sorry. But
no,
go ahead.
No,
I was just gonna say that you got to see my full collection.
I did, yeah. We talked about this before we were recording, but I'm impressed by the depth and breadth of what you get. Like there's 50s romance comics, basically.
Freaking love romance. I mean, I love love. I am that person.
Sure.
Hallmark movies.
Do you have you? This is off topic and nothing we've ever talked about. But have you seen Notting Hill?
Yeah.
I love it so much.
It's so good.
So good. Okay, good.
Just give me all of those romances.
You know who loves that movie to death along with me?
Who?
Scotty Young.
Scotty Young and I would be best friends.
You would. I'm sure you would.
Convinced.
Yeah. I, as someone who knows both of you, I would say that's true. I would be fearful of introducing the two of you because I feel I'd be like shut out because you guys would be way better friends.
Oh, absolutely.
Than I am.
I need Scotty Young. I'm leaving you.
You know what?
I'm so sorry.
I understand. I met Scott. I would leave me too. I don't, and there's no malice behind that whatsoever. But aside from me constantly raving about your enthusiasm and your love for the medium, I wanted to have you back on so quickly because you do a thing that I always want to do but don't do enough, and you visit a lot of comic stores.
I do.
Like, I go to a lot of stores as well, but you were just at Zombie Unicorn and did an interview, and that's one of the Chicago shops I've never been to.
They're great.
So I want your perspective on what you look for in a comic shop. And I guess I kind of want it from the standpoint of, if you were opening a shop, what would you do with it?
Oh, that's so hard.
Yeah,
because
right?
I think what I look in a shop is different than the shop that I would open.
Sure.
Because what I look for in a shop changes on, and this is the great thing about living in Chicago and being like a kind of mood reader experience person, like kind of based on my mood, I want to go visit a different kind of shop. If I want to dig in bins and kind of look at like vintage stuff, Dark Tower is really great. Graham Cracker is really great because you can find some of those.
I don't think I know that one.
Dark Tower?
No, I know Dark Tower. I'm not familiar with the other one.
You don't know Graham Cracker? It's not like you work there or anything.
I don't.
For a period of time in your life.
I have a gap in my memory for 17 and a half years.
You're like, it just blacked out. But sorry, I feel like that changes.
Some of them listen to this.
Hi, guys. And then also if I'm feeling like I kind of want to like really chat with people and I want to find some newer comics or just like really beautiful editions or omnis or trades, your store is really great. Alley Cat is really great.
Haley is not a Challengers employee, nor is she a Challengers subscriber.
This is true.
So what we're getting from her is a completely unbiased opinion, and I've often said that I'm not looking for Challengers plugs from this. This is the Challengers podcast. That's enough plug for it all. So thank you for saying that. But
it's true. So it's like if I'm wanting to like hang out and talk to comic people, I'm coming to your store. I'm going to Alley Cat. Like I love the people who work at Alley Cat. There's some really great humans there, and I feel like I sit and I actually chat for a while. Like when I go to Dark Tower, I'm digging. When I go to Graham Cracker, it's a little bit of both. That's my local comic shop, and I have my pull list there on Andersonville, and Nick and Kaye who run that are really great people. And, you know, we get to chat, and they have some employees that I really enjoy. But then, like, Zombie Unicorn is also walking distance from my home, and they're also another store that I get to kind of, like, sit and chat, and, like, they have some really good, like, back issues and bundles. And what I like about their store is that they have like Funko Pops and statues and just a lot of things that can, you know, entertain other interest, I would say.
You said it was a comic convention experience.
Yeah.
In the store. They
have a lot of, like a little bit of everything there, which is always really great to see and experience for different reasons. So when I'm thinking about what I'm looking
Haley,
for,
somebody's putting crumbs all over your kitchen table.
Absolutely, that's you. You are doing
what?
that.
No, I said somebody.
And it's
wow, thanks for calling me out. Man.
So yeah, I don't know. When I'm looking for what I want from a store, it depends. I think if I could create my dream store, now that is
all right,
difficult.
Pause for a second, because my dream store is not Challengers. Challengers is the mutual vision of Dal Bush and myself.
What's your dream store then?
Way more childish.
How so?
Action figures would be everywhere, like hanging from the ceiling in little bits and pieces, and we would do a lot more themed displays.
Would you have a Funko Pop pyramid?
I hadn't thought of that, but maybe. We have enough now to do that, but the problem with doing a Funko Pop period, I would constantly want to run through it, like Kool-Aid Man coming through a wall.
I want actually a giant tub where there's Funko Pops, almost like the little balls that you would find in those like McDonald's.
Man, those would hurt. Those things are like those
like,
balls
just
are meant
dive
to
in.
compress. Funko Pops will cut you. Yeah, and like the Marvel and Star Wars ones are all bobbleheads, so there's all those metal springs.
Oh my gosh.
Those will cause some damage. I mean, we have
I
enough.
still want one now.
We have enough Thor: Love and Thunder Pops alone to fill up your tub.
Do you have gore?
We don't have gore.
Wow.
We don't have gore.
I was gonna say I was gonna buy it from you.
Actually, we might have a. You know what? I take it back. We might have a gore. You know what? I can't look because my phone is currently recording.
This is but
But I was able to find your Moon Knight on my phone.
yeah.
So I think we do have gore. The problem is we get Funko Pops from both Southern Hobby and Diamond, and they come at completely different times. So we initially got them all from Southern Hobby, but now all the ones we order from Diamond. Full disclosure, we ordered from both of them because I forgot and double ordered them. So every week for the last couple weeks, it's been like next week we're getting a full case of Valkyrie Pops. We don't need those. We got those already. We're getting a full case. And each week it's a different... We got a full case of Meek Pops from last week. Meek wasn't even in the movie. They cut him out entirely. Or her, because she's in a pantsuit now. So we think there was some sort of gender transformation with Meek between movies. But Meek was entirely cut from the movie, even though there's a Meek in a business pantsuit pop that we have way too many of now.
I don't know if I can help you with those, but if you find that single gore,
I will look for a gore when we're done recording.
I'll take it. I love the way that Funko Pop looks. I don't need it, but I want it.
You don't do Marvel Legends, but they're coming out with a comic book gore,
I do not.
and it's so good looking.
I cannot do Marvel Legends. I'm not an action figure type of person. Funko Pop is as close as I get to that, just because they're so flippin' cute. But I also am very reserved in my Funko Pop buying because I have to be.
And what I've noticed in your apartment is that you only display a few of them at a time, and you rotate.
Yeah, I have to, because I, as Patrick likes to point out, my home looks very mature.
It's so mature. I'm so much older than her, and my apartment is a giant toy store, which is the thing my dad said years ago, and I hate to admit that he's fucking right.
In another life, my home is a giant toy store, but I just
It's a giant toy store in your heart.
It is. In my heart, it really is. I love the idea that my apartment can maybe look like it came out of like Architecture Digest magazine. Like, I just really
Would you be offended if I said a Crate and Barrel catalog?
No, I would also, that's goals too.
Yeah.
So.
My main comment to Haley was, I don't understand, where are all your Captain America shields?
I'm so
Turns
sorry.
out she doesn't have any.
I don't have any.
Like, not even one.
But why would I? Because Captain America is... No, I'm just kidding.
Good, because I hate Wanda.
She's my favorite. And it's not like we're getting... Can we announce the
Sure.
tattoo? We're getting matching tattoos.
In like 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, once this airs, like that week.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
Yeah.
We are getting old school Wanda's...
I'll be honest, I did not know what you were going to say when you said connect, we announce. I had no idea, but that's fine.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
by the way, Wanda's headpiece. Not the movie one, but the old school...
The comic book one.
Comic book one.
Yeah.
Very
The
excited
classic
about
one.
this.
Yeah. Where's yours going?
Mine is going on my upper left arm.
So I'm thinking mine is going to have to go on my left elbow, but it's going to go behind everything, so it can still be the full piece.
Oh, interesting.
But it'll be like the dial that goes to the Joe Jackson. It's volume 4. It's dropped below everything else to be able to get the full piece. So because I don't have the room anymore.
Oh, I'm gonna see. Mine is gonna be itty bitty. Well, not itty bitty, but it's gonna be like a.
You know, Caitlin's going to say make it bigger. Like whatever you think it's going to be bigger.
But it can't be like it can't. I can't do big.
That's
like
fine.
Really big. But I can do like it's a small to medium.
Okay, here's what you need to
Because
do.
it's an outline. I'm not. You're doing the full shade.
Yeah.
I'm doing an outlined version.
I'm going to try to talk you into a gray tone on the inside.
Maybe.
Yeah, not a
You're
black.
gonna go
gray
first,
tone.
though. You're gonna
Am
go
I?
first. You
Okay.
have to go first because I do feel like I could be convinced to do more shading
Sure.
in it, but I need to see it.
What I envision for yours is a gray, like a black outline.
Yeah.
But a gray inline shading, but off center, so there's still like the white line between. I have to draw it out here. I can't explain it. But so it'll give it the dimensionality of being 3D, but it'll be a light gray, so it's not this giant intrusive thing. But what you need to do is...
It can't be giant.
No. So figure out...
It can be maximum, as big as this
Okay,
rose.
So we'll measure your rose, and then we'll tell Caitlin you want it half that size. So when she says, no, it has to be bigger, you'll get it to go to that size. Yeah. Honestly...
And it needs to match, like... You've seen my tattoos. I feel like the kind of shading situation, I feel like it...
Oh, no, she's great. Like, look at... take this watch off. Look at this lip. These lips she did.
I'm so sorry to all the listeners that cannot see all these tattoos on our bodies
like,
right now.
I love the differentiation in the different dips of the red. Like, that, she did an amazing job on that piece.
That's great.
Like,
I'm really excited.
One of the things I feel bad about with Caitlin is that I always give her a piece and say, do this. I never say... interpret this and do it on your own. So with Wanda's headpiece, I gave it to her and she said, okay, I'll work something up. So she's going to change what I gave her.
Okay.
But that's what you want them to do.
Yeah, definitely. I think, as long as it looks cohesive, because I'm so particular about all of my stuff working together.
So long as you tell her that, she'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, I definitely will. I'm excited to see her, but also I need the audience to know that we... decided this after recording the first podcast together.
That's true.
And closing down a few bars.
When
And we
you said a few bars,
that was
she
a
means
drunk
multiple
choice
bars.
decision, and we
the next day I had it mocked up, but I didn't show it to Haley right away because I was afraid that would be too much, and also wanted to make sure that she actually wanted it. So I kept it to myself until the next time I saw you, and you brought it up. I'm like, okay, good, because here's what I've done.
And so now it's happening.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
It's on the books.
You will be the first and probably only person I will have gotten matching tattoos.
You
Actually,
never know.
no. The second person, I got a little cousin star tattoo.
Nice.
With my cousins and my aunt. So, second, I guess I'm just out here really trying to make permanent bonding.
I feel a little bit better about myself when I watch you brush crumbs off of yourself, that it's not just me.
I wouldn't say I'm messy either, but, we're having pizza.
Right. We're relaxed. We're not hunched over a table making sure crumbs don't go everywhere. I'm trying to be good, but crumbs are going to happen.
It's okay. No
also,
judgment.
this pizza's very good.
It is. Rosati's in Chicago.
Well, you added ricotta cheese on top of it.
Did.
Yeah. No, that was good.
Tasty.
That was good.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. So maybe the next time you're on, like, that'll be the image for, like, because every episode has a set image. Maybe the tattoos will be that.
I love that. What if just like after every episode we just get
more
absolutely trashed, and then we just decide on more matching tattoos?
I don't have the room. That's my problem. We had a couple weeks ago. We had Dan and Jason who do Barb the Last Berserker and Blueberry and Pancakes. These kids books, which are amazing. Mm-hmm. And for their new book, Barb and the Ghost Blade, they did a die cut bookmark of the Ghost Blade, and their publicist sent them to us ahead of the signing, and the second I opened that package, I'm like, that is a tattoo. I don't know where it's I don't have any room for it. Like, it's a sword, so it needs... I've got Becky Cloonan swords.
Do you only tattoo your arms?
Well, it goes...
And hands? Well, I see the chest piece. But do you do, like, back or legs?
It goes up, across, and down, and then the back of the neck. I've got one planned for my leg, but it's specifically to cover a surgery scar from a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. And it's a Daniel Warren Johnson piece.
Love that.
But it needs to be adapted because it was just a sketch he did for our Jack Kirby's 100th anniversary fundraiser at the store. And he did a quick Dr. Doom sketch for somebody. And it's Dan. It blew my mind. That guy is so good. And for years, and because Kirby's like, 104 now? If he were still alive. I kept it on a back burner, but once I had that surgery and I had that scar, I'm like, I want this to go over the scar. But you gotta wait until a scar is white as opposed to red. You said you were gonna have one of these next, just to see what I was talking about. You stayed with the same beverage.
I did, because it was just so easy to grab.
And also, you're
so
allowed
tasty.
to. It's your house. There's no rules. There are rules.
They're
They're your rules.
rules.
Yeah. I'm following your rules. I have no problem with that. So that'll be my first. But I like.
We have the lambic in the freezer.
I took it out and put it in. I put it in your door.
My hero.
I put it in your door. Once I opened this, not this one, but the previous, the Fin du Monde, and it was basically a beer Slurpee. I'm like, oh, all these are coming out of the freezer. Because we went to Binny's before this to stock up exclusively for this recording. Just for your benefit, listener. Not for our enjoyment. We're just doing this for you. Because that is how selfless and giving we both are.
You guys might get a second tattoo out of this. I mean...
Yeah, right? I mean, so long as we can agree on something, that's not hard. Basically, you said, let's do this, and I said yes.
Yeah.
That's how hard it was.
Who came up with the idea of it being matching tattoos? Like, I
honestly don't remember.
Full
disclosure, we drank a lot that night. After we were done recording, we were drinking during the recording, and then, as you said, we closed multiple bars afterwards.
I do feel like you were the one who were like, we could get matching tattoos. And I was like, we should get the Scarlet Witch. And then it kind of evolved.
That jives. Like, I wouldn't have enough of a balance to say, no, that's not true. Like that sounds like me. Let's be honest.
I feel like that's what happened. And then I was like, surprised myself by saying, absolutely. And then was like, what if we did Scarlet Witch?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, here we are. And I just remember waking
That's why
up
I
the
waited.
next day. Did I agree to that? And also, I'm not going back on it.
I mean, there's no... This is not a blood pact.
Yes, it is.
No, I mean, we didn't cut ourselves and bleed.
Do you remember? No, I'm just kidding. I'm so kidding.
That explains the scab. It's so weird. I do remember you had a cocktail fork and you were thrusting it wildly around, but I thought that was unrelated. Weird.
Absolutely did not happen,
No.
audience.
Look, who are they going to believe? Me, who they listen to every single week? Or you, the new, young, vibrant co-host?
Hey, I just got an official intro.
That's true, you did.
I feel like my credibility just went up a couple notches.
So now I need to work on a graphic of you because it's always caricatures of Dal and I on the episode.
Oh my god,
So-
do I get a caricature?
I mean, we'll see because they've always been by the same artist. So I would either need to go back to someone we've done before or have somebody do both of us.
I will
And
be
also,
on a bunch of podcasts to make this happen.
it's really easy for me to be like, here's photos of Dal and I over the years. I would feel weird without your consent being like, here's photos
have
of
my
Haley.
consent.
Because I only
Absolutely.
have... The only photo I have of you is the one with us with the cigars.
Oh my god.
Outside bar number 1 of last time.
Okay, well we
need more.
I can come to Challengers. We could take some, appropriate photos with me not smoking a cigar. And
Whoa! Why is that inappropriate?
it's not inappropriate, but I don't know that is the image. I don't often smoke cigars, so I don't feel like it's an accurate
I
representation.
don't know.
of-
I feel like the way your fingers were holding that cigar showed somebody who was like that was just a lot of muscle memory holding that.
I don't know about that, other than the fact that I was like, I'm just so cool smoking the cigar on the stoop. Like,
Did you see how dumb I look in that photo and how I managed to? In some of the pictures, like I cropped me out as like it's you and like a half my face looking at you.
is that on the internet? Did you put that on the show?
Yeah, that's on the episode. So we do 2 different graphics for each episode. There's a square and a full one.
I'm not gonna lie.
The full one has this CoC logo, the episode number, the episode title, and a graphic. The square one is just the graphic with the logo.
Yeah, that being on the internet is a very intriguing choice for me, but
I had your permission.
I know.
You approved each photo. There was one. We took one. That was it. All we needed was one. It was great. It wasn't like, you're like, oh wait, I think you made me do it over once. Who cares? I don't remember. Also, we're kind of way off topic.
So sorry.
So you were about to talk about what you would want for your comic show.
Yes. What is my ideal situation?
So there's 2 ways to consider this. You need to consider 1, what you want to stock, and 2, what you think you can sell.
Okay, well, but this is my dream, so I'm not going to consider what will sell. All of it in my dream sells.
I listened to a podcast called Off Menu, and it's 2 British comedians, and every week they have a guest, and the premise of Off Menu is you're in a dream restaurant with a genie waiter, and you are basically building your perfect meal from the water choice to your starter to your beverage to your appetizer to your full meal to your dessert and your aperitif, and that spurs on a lot of really great conversation. So it's a food podcast, but it's not about the food.
Yeah.
So basically, you're taking the tract of the dream comic shop. So proceed.
Yeah. So a place that's really stuck with me since visiting is Silver Sprocket.
Challengers. Sorry. Silver Sprocket, who's a great publisher. They do a lot of really offbeat stuff. Caroline Cash, who we love to death, who is a Chicago creator, recently worked at Quimby's, but did was it Girl in the City? I can't remember. But also we have their mini comic I'm So Punk, and so they won a bunch of was Ignatz Awards for their book Pee Pee Poo Poo that Silver Sprocket is going to be releasing.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
It's just basically about life as a former art school person in a city, and just all the dude bros you meet. And
I need that.
Yeah,
in my life.
I'm So Punk is so great. I don't want to oversell it, but it's basically like Caroline Cash is the modern day Dan Clowes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely need to read that and pick that up. But I went to San Francisco earlier this year, and I had stepped into Silver Sprocket, and it felt so unique and so
and I've never been there, which is
beautiful.
Emphasizing the fact that you go to more stores than I do.
Well, whenever I travel, I try to hit bookstores and now comic shops within the last 2 years that I've been collecting. And one of my friends brought me to Silver Sprocket, and I was so ecstatic. I walk in, and I mean, they have like traditionally published graphic novels and comics, but they also had so many zines and independent, unique, like magazines and zines and just all of the stuff. It was so unique, and there was just so much cool shit. Like, I was so enamored with so many little kind of like trinkets and stickers and comics, and I spent so much money and put a tote bag, and it was great. And so a part of me, like, is my ideal comic shop is supporting a bunch of like independent creators,
sure,
people who are doing just like really interesting stuff. And a lot of it was also really beautifully like put together. It wasn't like these kind of like throwaway like zines or comics or magazines that are just like, okay, like this like looks like someone did this in their garage. But even if that's not to say that people doing things in their garage is not quality, but I feel like they were still vetting whatever
the
was
things
in
that they
their
publish,
store.
they definitely curate.
Yeah.
But the things that they stock in the store is a different matter altogether.
Yeah, and all of that is really well curated as well. It seems really intentional, to say the least. And so I really, like, my ideal store would have, like, an aspect of that, as well as a kind of, like, traditional comic shop where you have, like, the Marvel, the DC, the Image, the Boom Studios. I do think that I love the way that you guys set up your store in terms of genre.
Thank you.
Like, that to me is like definitely, because I'm just such a bookish person, would do it, is like in terms of genre.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just so accessible, and that allows for you to just see correlations between books that maybe people wouldn't otherwise see. And
when you first started reading comics,
yeah.
I know we talked about this last time, but I don't remember. How did you know you wanted to read comics? What made you say, like, oh, I want to read this? And ultimately, the goal of this question is your first impression going into your first comic shop. And
I was so young.
Yeah.
I was so young. When I was older and I was going into comic shops, a lot of what I was looking for was the genres that I was interested in, romance or like fantasy. unless it was based off of a recommendation. So it's like I read the Manhattan Projects off of a recommendation from a friend, and so then I went into a comic shop. But when I used to go, when I was at Loyola, to, it's called Third Coast Comics, I would get a lot of Boom Studios because they do a lot of like younger kind of like romancy, adventure, fantasy, like Sleepless is a romance fantasy. Freaking love that run. And so it was definitely genre based.
I have a hardcore porn comic that Lila Del Duca drew.
What?
She wrote and drew it, and it was on her website. And I will send it to you. It's called The Plant Man. Just, you know, because she drew Sleepless, so.
Yeah, she did. Wow. I love that.
She also said that after having done it, it completely filled the, not desire, but like, she's never doing it again. She's like, oh no, I really always wanted to do this, and now that I've done it, I'm like, no, I'm good. I never have to do this again.
Well, that's great. You filled that gap for her.
I mean, it was just a thing she had on her website. Yeah. But I love the dichotomy of like, oh, this like sweet. It is a sweet, tender romance story. There's just a lot of
explicit content.
Well, a lot of the result of a sweet, tender romance.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm. But I do love that most of the things that you're describing are the backbone to every YA and sidekicks book that we have. because that's exactly like those are the fundamental aspects of storytelling that people want, regardless of if it's a sci-fi story, or if it's a superhero story, or if it's a fantasy story. Mm-hmm. Like that, people, it doesn't matter the genre, it matters the story.
Definitely. And so I think that having something through, like a setup through genre, is that allows people to see all those kinds of stories, with, like, no matter what. And so I think that would be a part of it. I also really love shops that also like yours. And
thanks for saying that, Haley.
Yeah. That have like,
you can't see this, but I'm holding up a sign that says Challengers every time she says something.
Well, and Zombie Unicorn does it as well, right? They have Funko Pops and just like geek stuff. I think I would love like enamel pins and, just like geek merch. That stuff is so cool to me. Like, I love things that are kind of in line. Like, I liked when I went to Silver Sprocket and they had a bunch of stickers. Like, I freaking love stickers. Like, I collect stickers.
I want to tell you that I love all those things so much, but as a retailer, so much of it doesn't sell for us.
That's right.
That it's hard to do it, and that we try. I've always wanted to have, not to derail what you're saying, but I've always wanted to have basically an Etsy section in the store.
Oh, I love
local
that.
People that just do their own, superhero type stuff, whether they're making magnets out of comic books or whatever. And I've always wanted to do that, but the logistics involved are a lot, and we don't do a lot of non-licensed merchandise.
That's fair.
There's a lot of stores in Chicago that do a lot of dubiously legal sales.
Yeah.
And we try not to do that.
I don't know that I imagine it, to be quite honest, as superhero stuff, though. Like, when I think about that, I think about it as, like, Disney stuff or, just random, like, nerdy type of, like, stickers or pins or whatever the case may be. And again, this is, like, in this fake reality in which I own this story that's incredibly epic.
It's your opinion is completely valid in that regard.
And I'm sure would probably struggle because it doesn't really have one lane that it's sticking to, which I think, like, in terms of retail, it actually is so helpful to have, like, this is this one thing that we're doing really well versus, like, I'm trying to have my hand in many pots and, like, there isn't really a cohesive brand behind it. But in my dream
Lack
world,
of cohesive brand can be your brand.
I mean, it's just a hodgepodge.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would kind of be like a mix of like Silver Sprocket with like a bit of Zombie Unicorn and Challengers. Like, if you took all three of those stores and they kind of made a baby, And maybe with graham cracker, a little dash of graham cracker.
We're out of time now, everybody. Haley, I'm sorry this is your last ever episode.
I just like the fact that people can dig. I like digging.
Sure, yeah, of course.
Digging is super fun.
So as someone who owns a store and also someone who has a ton of comics, there's a complete dichotomy in what I like to buy versus what we sell.
Yeah.
Because I love Silver Age Marvel books. We don't sell those. We don't try to sell those because it's so difficult to do, and the amount of time it takes to turn that over, and you could put the money out this year and not sell a book for 4 years. And there's a difference between having the, pedigree of having those things, but if they don't sell, why do you have them?
I mean, I would never. I could, like, in my ideal store, as much as I would want that, I probably would never. I wouldn't be the person to have vintage comics because, one, I just don't have that extensive knowledge, but that also just seems like so difficult. And so it'd be like newer and investing in like newer stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I think.
And it's harder to make money with the newer stuff. During the pandemic, especially, sales of vintage books kept a lot of stores in business because a lot of people had disposable income, all that stuff. But we are just not as versed in that.
Mm-hmm.
And
says the person with 71 long boxes.
Yeah, but I can't tell you the condition of every single book in those or their value.
I just need everyone to know that he doesn't even bag and board them.
I do bag and board my books. I just haven't since Dal was a child and I made him do it for me. I would definitely bring my own long boxes into the store and be like, all right, bag and board these. No, you can't look at those. Stop reading that. That's mine. Put that back. No, you can't buy that. It's not the store's. It's mine.
Yeah, but see, now I'm going to come and I'm going to bag and board everything and also take
Great. Wait, what?
What?
What's the last part? Hold on. I was trying to drink. I didn't hear what you said. There's no shame in having 71 long boxes.
There is no shame.
It's the fact that there's like 68 boxes of garbage. That's the shame. There's when we opened Challengers, I had 96 long boxes, so I divested of down to 77, and then had 6 stolen. I had them all stolen, but I got most of them back. But so I'm not sure entirely what is in it. But there was a period of time in my life, and I think most people know this, that my brother and I were buying every comic that came out because there weren't that many. And then when the 80s black and white boom hit, we realized, oh, we can't keep doing this.
But that means you bought like all of the 70s.
Well, no, I bought all the 80s. But when you look at that stuff now, 90% of it is just garbage. Who's asking for adolescent radioactive black belt hamster back issues now? Nobody.
I couldn't even tell you.
Have you ever heard of that?
No, exactly.
That is a thing that existed.
So that's what I'm going to find
along,
in the 70s.
Along with adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters, there were 2 other levels of parody to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that I can't recall them, but they're in those boxes.
I can't wait to see them.
There is a lot of black and white books. A lot of stuff that was great, but that would never sell for anything now.
Yeah.
And then we had to start saying, no, we can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
I remember when we were buying books on our pull list, we would get advanced comics from Capital City Distribution, go through the catalog, mark everything we wanted, and my brother would look at me and say, dude, it's $50 this month. We gotta cut back. And now $50 is a small week. It
kind of is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really trying to pare down my pull list, but man, sometimes I just look at the week and I'm like, wow, there's like 12 books on this week.
See,
like,
because
why
there is
am I doing this to myself?
It's impossible.
Just wait for the trade. Haley, just wait for the trade.
Yeah, but then 4 trades come out in 1 week. It's impossible to budget as a comic fan because the comic publishers themselves don't budget their releases. For example, next week there are no Judgment Day crossovers and only 1 Dark Crisis crossover, which is Young Justice, if that even counts.
But also the X books are coming out, right?
But the previous week, how many Judgment Day books were there? Like 6.
Oh, I quit it. And mostly because I'm just not caught up.
Okay.
So I've decided that at this point, by the time I catch up, there will be a trade.
So Judgment Day, A is actually really good.
I know, and that's the thing I'm quitting. I feel like I've bought into probably really shitty events, and then the one I was like, I'm not gonna get everything, is the one that everyone's telling me is good.
So you can never get anything on any crossover. Judgment Day is a 6-issue series, right? Written by Kieran Gillen. Mm-hmm. Kieran Gillen has written 18 Judgment Day crossovers, including those 6. That's and that's just him, not counting everybody else. So we've always told everybody, when there's a major crossover, just buy the main book. You don't need anything else. Nothing major is ever going to happen. Nothing major is ever going to happen in those books. And this motherfucker turned us into liars of Judgment Day because major things are happening in the other Judgment Day books he's writing.
That's what I
For
heard.
the first time, Haley.
Which is why I'm struggling so much. I'm out here hearing that from you and friends, and then I'm hearing it's good. And now I'm sitting here, I went to go pick up my pull list, and I left Judgment Day books on the table. I was like, I am not going to do this. I am not going to pick these up. I am going to stop. Because I pulled a couple of them. You've seen them in the boxes. Yeah. And I was like, I can't keep buying 18 books on top of the fact that I just am nowhere near caught up. And then I was talking to my friend. I'm like, I felt proud too. It was like a moment of pride. I was like, I've cut some books on my list.
That is a big important step.
It is.
Yes.
And I was like, it's the Axe Judgment Day. And he was like, well, maybe that was actually a mistake. And I was like, are you serious? He's like, it's actually pretty good. And I was like, well, can't I just read like the titles that I'm reading and only that event in that way? And he said exactly what you said. He was like, well, actually, they kind of...
For the first time ever, some are important. So between issues 5 and 6 of Judgment Day, they did an Avengers one-shot, an Eternals one-shot, an X-Men one-shot, a Star Fox one-shot.
I have the Star Fox one-shot.
Okay.
Zulo did the...
That's the most important one.
Yes.
Yeah. The other ones, and Kieran Gillen said that there was internal discussion of making those actual numbered parts of Judgment Day, but they're not. And those 3 are not necessary because the Avengers one is just Tony Stark being judged. That's it. The X-Men one is just Jean Grey being judged. They're not furthering the story at all. But in the Star Fox one, Star Fox comes up with the solution that they're going to use in Judgment Day 6. So if you read 5 and go to 6, you're missing out on the point of this is important. But if you just bought the Avengers, the X-Men, and the Eternals one-shots, you get a little more in-depth that's unnecessary.
But I like the unnecessary. I guess all this is to say I'm going back to get the rest of my pull list, and we'll probably add them back on.
I mean, just do the... You got Star Fox, right? Just do Axe Judgment Day 1 through 6. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'll tell you what you missed. Like, yeah,
can you fill in the gaps?
I can't. In Wolverine, he gets judged. Fine. That was an issue of Wolverine. Jean Grey gets judged in a special one-shot.
But I definitely want to see them get judged.
It's just a Celestial doing this or doing this. That's all.
By the way, he's doing a thumbs
up.
Thumbs down. You guys
so all you need to know is that it's the opposite of what you think it should be.
Okay.
Because, have you read any of Judgment Day?
No, I haven't, so don't spoil.
Okay. I was going to spoil.
No, I know you were. I saw it.
Yeah,
I saw it coming from a mile away.
Yep, fair. Just, think of a character and think...
No, we're going to stop.
No. I'm just saying...
But you're going to tell the opposite.
No, I'm not. I'm just going to say, think how you would judge them. That's all.
I feel like that's a little spoilery.
All right, fine. That's fine. Everyone dies, Haley. They all die.
I swear if I read it, everyone dies.
They're X-Men. They can be reborn. It doesn't matter.
This is true. Krakoa.
There's actually a major plot point that they haven't explained about that, which I cannot talk to you about. I can't. I'm not gonna.
I know.
I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm not telling you what the Christmas subscriber gift is.
I know. Well, I'll know before December.
Yeah, probably. I already told you who's doing the Christmas card, and I've deliberately not told anyone listening to this
So, hey
who
guys,
it is.
I'm just kidding.
And I've also, literally, while we were in Binny's, showed you other work of theirs. So that's kind of a hint. But no one will get that hint.
Oh, that was so good.
Right? No, it's just me being a smug dick. Like giving it, like dangling something that no one's going to get.
Well, you guys will get it. I mean, if you're a subscriber.
No, but I mean, they won't understand my Binny's reference to it. So, Haley, in your real life,
Yes.
in your non-comic life, what do you do?
What non-comic life? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right?
So I work with Kaye Publicity, and I'm a marketing manager, and we work with publishing houses and authors. And what we just started doing is actually working with bookstores and comic retailers. And so a part of the services that we are starting to offer retailers, which I'm so excited about because I'm working with comic book retailers like Bird City Comics and the Comic Corner, which the Comic Corner is a brick and mortar shop in Maine, but they also have
Online presence. Yeah.
and Bird City, though based in Arizona, is only an online shop that deals in exclusives. We offer 2 different opportunities, basically. So one being an online marketing audit, which is so fun for me to do, but it's basically going through the back end of a retail shop and looking at their online presence and identifying the gaps and the missed opportunities, whether that's in your newsletter or your website, or looking at, if you do Shopify or Squarespace commerce, and looking at kind of the trends that are happening and identifying ways that we can kind of turn that around for retail shop. And so an audit is kind of where we deliver all of those recommendations in a very extensive, like 14-page PDF.
Jesus.
It's very intense. It's very intense and
I
detailed.
just want bullet points.
And then, depending on the store, it's like they take over implementation of those, or they hire us to do the implementation, because once you see 14 pages in front of you of recommendations, it can be a little intimidating.
As someone who does the entirety of our weekly email newsletter and the majority of our social posting, and I don't like doing it, and it is a chore.
Yeah.
And like the email newsletter, there's so much more we can do with it, but we don't, because the engagement is so, well, I say it's low, but the open rates are fine, like 25%.
That's standard.
Yeah. But the majority of the books that we're pushing, because we use Managed Comics, which is entirely on the customer to add the books themselves. In the past, when we would say, hey, this book is coming up, you should read it, we would get emails saying, oh, add me this book. When people now add it themselves, I'm not seeing that. I can see it. I can go in and look at those trends. I don't, because I'm too busy with other things.
That's fair.
And
And that's often what is really happening. So the other offering that we give for retailers is actually doing social media management, newsletter management, and online presence evaluation. So whereas the marketing audit is kind of like a deliverable where we're like, okay, we will do this thing and we will give it to you. The management aspect is like basically doing all of that, and then the implementation and continuously working on a month-by-month basis where it's like I become someone's social media manager. I'm, thinking about the ways that we market whatever goals that you have as a retailer, and it changes retailer to retailer.
Of course, yeah.
Right?
I fully expect that not every store gets a carbon copy evaluation.
Absolutely not.
It's targeted to them specifically.
100%, because what we believe at Kaye Publicity first and foremost is that it's quality over quantity, and it's also incredibly tailored. There's never a plug and play. There are companies that might do that. We're not one of them. It really is tailored to you and your goals as a company, as a brand. And so what's really exciting for me is looking at a brand overall or a retailer and seeing like, this is where you're at now. How can we take you to the next level? How can we push you forward? How can we achieve the goals that you've been wanting to achieve? And oftentimes it's like marketing initiatives like email marketing, social media, your website. Those are things that I often see as people understand the value, but it's really hard for people to follow through on it, because
commit the time to it, or to know what they're doing works.
Exactly, because either they're not an expert in it, or you're running a retail shop that's incredibly demanding, and you have customers and you have orders to place, and you have
multiple distributors suddenly when you didn't used to have that.
You have a lot of things, and if you don't have an incredibly big team, you're spread really thin as an owner. And so oftentimes I'm coming into companies or with publishing houses where the teams are just really small, and
they're not used to working with outsiders. And
we're the extra pair of hands that you've been wanting or needing.
But also, you might encounter people who don't trust you to understand their business when you do, but they don't see it that way because every comics retailer is so different and untrusting of other comics retailers.
I've been fortunate enough to work with people who see the value in my expertise and see the value in Publicity, and we've been able to work. But I will say that there is like an initial weariness for sure, where we'll do shorter, maybe like contracts, because they're like, but what if it doesn't work? And they get really nervous and they're a little weary. And then like we do the 3 to 4 months kind of thing. And then I've been very fortunate that contracts end up being renewed, and Publicity has seen that continuously, where it's like we show social proof that it's working. Like investing time on your website and email marketing and social media, building a community around your brand works and brings in sales, which brings in money, which then supports the overall goal of like seeing your business grow. So that is something that we recently just launched, and it's been so exciting because I never thought I would be able to work in the comic book space outside of what we traditionally do at Publicity, which is publicity and marketing campaigns for books. So we have worked with comic book publishers. We've worked with Drawn and Quarterly. We've worked with people who have published through AWA and Marvel Comics, and we typically focus on their trades and collected editions rather than single issues. But to actually work with retailers has been so much fun and such a dream come true. And a lot of it has come because I started Chai Comic Girl, which is honestly
that doesn't
so
sound
wild.
right. That doesn't sound like it's fun and a dream come true to work with other retailers. I don't understand that.
So yeah, that's kind of what has been new since we last talked on the podcast. That happened. I sent, our page to Patrick to just be like, yeah, I'm doing it.
You said it to me on a Tuesday, and I was going through all the new books for the week, and I got the link. I'm like, oh, that looks cool, but I didn't quite look at it right away. Mm-hmm. And then when I looked at it, I'm like, oh, wait, no, I need to pay more attention to this. And for the History Challengers, after we opened, we wanted to try to work with people to get our reputation out as two people that have been in the comics industry for a very long time, and to any media presence that had stories about comics, we wanted them to come to us. So we started working with the Sphinx Group in the beginning, and we worked with them for a year or so, and then we moved on from them. Mm-hmm. And then we hired Dana Kaye Publicity, who recommended by a colleague, and we worked with Dana for like a year or so. Yeah. Then we moved on from that as well, and then we just doing everything ourselves. But we never got the impact we were looking for. And when we were working with Sphinx, I'm like, hey, can you, like, when you're reaching out to people, can you copy me? So I can see what you're sending them? Yeah. And they're like, no, you can't see what we're doing because then you just do it yourself. And that's I'm like, so wild. I understand that, but that's not what we're doing. But then I thought, I don't know, maybe they're right. Maybe it would have been. Maybe I would have seen it and said, oh, I can do this myself. Because that is very much Challenger's thing. It's like, why don't we just do it? Yeah. But so then we stopped working with anybody, and we still want to be the people that news places come, and they do occasionally, but not for everything. Yeah. But I feel like the experience that Dow and I have together is the thing that anyway. So once I sat down and looked at what you were offering, I will tell you that we are going to try it next year, like January or so.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, we'll come back to you in 2023.
By the way, I need everyone to know that I've not heard this before the podcast.
No, this is true. She's not heard it. So this we'll start with the audit early 2023. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. Well, and I think exactly what you've said is something I experience a lot. Like, people see those things and I'm like, well, like, I can do it. And like, to be quite honest, it's not that it's not teachable. I'm not one to gatekeep information. So oftentimes when I'm working with clients, it is exactly like, here is exactly how to do it. But oftentimes there is a finesse, and there is also just like a question of bandwidth and time.
So as my vest was entirely riding on my back this entire time. We need to start over and re-record. My vest was bunched up in the back. Everyone stop listening. Horror.
We need to absolutely start over.
Yeah. And then I'll skip the part about using the... is it Retailer RX? What is it called?
Yeah.
Written, it's Retailer RX, but RX means prescription, so...
Yeah, no, I think that... I'm not sure I did not make the URL, but it's Kaye Publicity.
Well, people need to know so they can go to it. Retailers who are listening to this.
We will add it into the show notes that you add. But I think it's, I don't...
Look at her giving me more work. I have to, what was the first thing I had to do? Photos of the box. Or at least the link to Romany House links.
I just want you all to see my pretty home.
Fine.
But,
also, Haley's home is so adult, she's never going to see my new home.
I will be so sad.
No, you're going to laugh at me for how childish
I'm not.
it is.
I'm going to have so much fun. I just need you to know that
I'm in the process of building the ball pit.
If I didn't want to live in a Crate and Barrel magazine, my home would also equally be
fair.
Toy Story. But
fine. So
yes,
you'll see my home as someone who's given up.
No,
and your home is someone who's still young and vibrant and excitable. So the thing that I'm most worried about with the thing that you offer is I know how lacking we are, but I'm afraid of the extra work. And honestly,
but that's why you hire us.
True.
To do that. Well, because that's the thing. Because it's not that it's not again. I do believe a lot of the stuff is teachable. I do believe that I don't believe in gatekeeping information. So, you know how you express that other company was like, we're not going to CC you on things because if you see it, then you can do it. Well, sure, but in terms of publicity. To
be fair, I think I did ask them, can you show me who you're sending this to so I know that you're reaching the people I want you to reach?
Yeah.
But, you can't see our client list.
But that's actually an incredibly fair ask. But also, the other aspect is you might not have the same kind of connection.
My concern was I wanted non-comic media people to be reached. I can reach comic media people.
Exactly.
And I was afraid they were just reaching comic media people. And the people that would respond... When we won the Eisner back in 2013, we rehired Sphinx to do publicity just for that event. And the only people that ran anything about it... And I'll tell you that a store that wasn't even close to winning, got way more national publicity for having been a finalist than we did as the winner. And the people that ran with what Sphinx sent were just the most unknown comics journalism sites. People I'd never heard of.
Yeah. Well, I can't speak to the work that they've done. I'm not really familiar with them, but it's not an unreasonable ask to see who they're sending to or who they're contacting to. And then when it comes...
I didn't need email addresses. I just wanted names of publications or whatever.
Is incredibly fair. And at Kaye Publicity, we definitely let you know who we've reached out to. So that's a totally different scenario. But when it comes to what at least I've experienced and the work that I've done with retailers and publishers and authors is that it's not that this... Oftentimes what I'm experiencing in these calls is yeah, I know, that makes sense. I totally should have been doing this for the last 5 years. But it's that it doesn't happen. It doesn't get done because, again, the bandwidth, the team members are not there. So that's the role that we play, is the team member that you've needed for the last 5 years to do the things that you're not going to do or can't do or don't have the time to do, or maybe don't have the exact expertise. So it's maybe you would have done it, but it wouldn't have been done to this way, to this extent. Yeah. And so often after working with retailers...
That is the challenger's motto. Do it, but not up to the professional level that you want it to be done.
Well, and it's been so rewarding on my end, at least, because I think a lot of people, especially with social media, are I could do social media, I could do this. And it's not to say that people can't or that they wouldn't be good at it. It's that oftentimes, it becomes the thing that's on your back burner because it isn't as important as, some other retail priorities, which is understandable.
All of the distributor orders for December are due Thursday. And that is a week earlier than expected. So they're giving us a break in November. This is a bad week for me. So it was literally, we were talking last night, and I'm like, oh no, since I got home from work, I've been working because I have to get all this done by Thursday. And to be fair, it's easier to concentrate at home. It's easier to my setup at home is way more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
There's no distractions. I can't. It's harder when you're trying to analyze sales data and look at subscriber numbers and creator notes and figure out what a book is going to sell. You get a rhythm, you get a mindset, you keep going. When you have to stop and answer the phone, help somebody, bring somebody up, you lose it and you have to get back to it again. So I prefer to do that stuff at home on my own time. But it's at home on my own time. So as an owner, you don't have your own time. You have store time at all. And let's face it, earlier tonight, you were working as well.
Yeah.
Like at 8:30 on a Saturday night, you had a project that suddenly needed attention and you jumped to it.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Because I'm a team member of a company because they've hired me to do a job, and that's exactly how I'm going to act in that space. And so, though I try to keep boundaries with working hours and weekends,
you're not the owner of the store.
I'm not, but I care. But I care, and so that is something that I'm willing to sacrifice. But I do think the biggest thing is like what I've heard, like as contracts come to an end and then they renew, is like it's been so relieving to have someone on our team who will just do the social media, who will just do the newsletter, who will just do X, Y, and Z things that they've consistently have wanted to do, but then couldn't. And oftentimes, again, people are really like, what is the actual impact? And what I've been able to see with like legitimate data is like, okay, we do this thing on social media and it's brought in sales. So it is bringing in money. And I think that there is like always a fear that, but like it's like the internet and you're like, I don't know kind of what it does. Like, how do you even point to it? And it can be kind of scary to invest a lot of money into a campaign for several months when you're very unsure of like, but can you guarantee sales? And we can't guarantee sales. But I can also say like, if we're doing things right, like oftentimes that happens, so we can't guarantee it contractually and legally.
Of course you can. And there's, you never know. Like a month or so ago, we started doing weekly videos that I wanted to call like "Don't Overlook," of highlighting books people may not realize are coming out because so much comes out every week.
Yeah.
And some weeks it's easy to do because you have a local artist who dropped a new book off, or there's a book called Luna that we discovered that was like a 70s Marvel monster version of Moon Knight, and it's great. And so we can like pitch a book like that. People love that book, but then there's weeks where there's something dead, and we want to highlight books that people may not have heard of. Some weeks it's like, oh, Dal's doing a deep dive into All Out Avengers, and Andrew, who's our youngest team member, is in his, I don't know, let's say somewhere between 18 and 26.
What a gap.
He's in law school, so he's law school age. But he wants to like be the guy doing our TikTok stuff, and he's like, always send me the stuff for TikTok.
That's awesome.
But it's not awesome because it's not working. And the best, like the most, like TikTok, I don't understand it. I do, but I don't know how to work it. And like the best things we've done have been stupid ideas that I've had. We had one stupid little skit that I came up with that has had like 60,000 views, right? Then we have ones that do barely 50. And a lot of these book review ones, like not just like book, we try to keep those to like 5 minutes. 5 minutes on TikTok is an eternity.
It is.
If you're more than 10 seconds on TikTok, it's...
Well, it just depends. You have to, I mean... There's a lot that goes into those things. You have to look at the trends. You have to look at the audios that are trending. You have to look at... And
I'm not willing to do any of that. Because I don't care about TikTok.
But and not everyone needs to be on TikTok. Even if that is the thing that is feeling accelerated in this moment of time. It doesn't always make sense for every brand to be on TikTok. The amount of authors or people we get, do I need to be on TikTok? It's like, well, is your audience on TikTok? If not, then why are you there? If the people who are showing up to your store, if the people who are showing up for your brand, your book, whatever the case may be, are not actually on TikTok, then you have no business there.
The number of people that tell us how much they love these, because we put these videos on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah, I see the Instagram ones.
And regular customers comment on them all the time, which is what we want, which is great. Like, it's great if you live in Arizona and you see it and you want it, you go to your local shop and buy the book. Fine, I don't care. I'm trying to increase my sales, but I'm happy to elevate the medium as well. We've legitimately had people who came in and said, "I live around the corner. I didn't know you existed. I saw you on TikTok."
That's awesome. Then it's working.
It is,
to some
but
capacity.
it's Tuesday night. I'm trying to catch up on all of my wrestling vlogs, and that's when I'm doing all that stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
And I know I'm half-assing it.
Yeah. Well, and that's, again, it comes back to, like, when you're able to hire either an employee, or if you're a retailer that doesn't, like, we are cheaper than a full-time employee. When it
You don't
comes
know what we
up-
pay.
I mean, I don't know, yeah. But, like, when I think of oftentimes what services we offer and what that looks like, it's often way more affordable than, like, a salaried position at a company.
Yeah, of course.
And so...
And it's hard to try to get your current employees to do this. Like,
well, and if they don't have the right, we have the expertise. We're the experts in this. Like, I like social media management, marketing. That is like my career. That's my job. And so, again, it's not to say that like every time that I'm speaking, it's this profound wisdom that people are like, wow, I just never knew it. Because oftentimes the conversations around marketing, social media, I tell people, like, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, I kind of knew that. I kind of had a hunch. But nothing is ever accomplished or done on their end. But then we do it, and then they see results, and it's so rewarding to see a business grow. And so all of that is to say, I'm really excited to offer this, and I do think in some ways there's a lot of convincing on my end that I often have to do when I enter conversations.
I completely understand that. Yeah.
But which makes it feel all the better when like someone does hire us, and then I get to kind of prove them like it was really worth it.
Yeah, this is why you did it. Sure. Yeah.
Even on initial calls, they'll be like, wow, like this is really extensive. I'm like, well, what did you think I was going to show up and do?
What are you paying for? Yeah.
Like I'm going to put...
I'm just going to send you this meme. You throw your logo on it. You call it done.
Yeah. I'm incredibly serious about it, and it's my passion. So, but it's so crazy. I didn't anticipate ever working with comics. It was... Right, 2 years ago, I watched WandaVision. Sure. Like, I sit with that. Like, 2 years ago, I watched WandaVision, and I was like, went on eBay and bought Wanda and, Scarlet Witch and Vision comics for way too much money because I didn't know any better.
Sure.
And I have zero regrets. But, and here I am now. That's crazy.
Here I am now, in your kitchen.
Yes.
You do a lot of social media stuff for yourself, for your brand. You have like a regular Tuesday night show?
Yeah. I do a Tuesday night show, not on my channel, but on a channel called Nearing Nerdvana.
Okay.
Which I love. And I do the Comic Book Women Market Report.
Okay.
So we'll choose a character, an artist, and we'll showcase several comics, variants, and we'll do kind of like high and low ends of the market of what's affordable, what might be a bit of a premium price, and kind of showing whether it's on an upward trend or a downward trend. And I feel like it's incredibly informative. I used to watch the show, and then they invited me on to be a consistent co-host, and I fangirled everyone.
I understand their line of thinking in that regard.
I know. Wow, I'm really just fangirling all these people.
Everybody
like you.
wants to be a part of your brand, and
that's crazy.
You do a ton of stuff, and you promote it well as well. And
I
don't.
I might have some expertise in it.
I don't watch everything you do,
and nor should you. I mean,
but I do occasionally.
Zero expectation of that.
When I'm at home ordering, I will listen to it because I can't be watching it because I'm looking at sales figures and things. So I will listen to stuff in the background. And I did watch the I forget what it's called. I've been drinking the cover game that you played where you just
Comic Gories. With John's Comics with Kids.
Yeah.
And JP Budget Collecting. They host Comic Gories. And it is so fun.
And it was fun, but it was annoying to just listen to because I'm like, I want to see the covers. I had to keep bouncing back.
Yeah, it's something that's way more visually enticing.
I don't have the bandwidth to just watch a thing. But if it can be here while I'm doing I'm gesturing again, sorry. If it's there and I can be doing this here, then I can bounce back and forth or whatever. But that's how I consume a lot of things. The only thing that really gets my attention is when I'm exercising, because I need a thing to focus on to take my mind off of what I am doing repetitively there. So then I'll watch I love watching Bake Off when I work out. I watch all Supernatural and Buffy Ridge and stuff like that. But man, you know what? We've never talked about Taskmaster, but that's not for this. Not the character, the British game show. We'll talk about that later. Don't be offended. I'm not giving it my full attention. But if I'm available, I'll log in and do a thing. You know what? Because you're on it. That's why. Comic Orders was great though. It was a lot of fun seeing everything. Yeah, but I did it because I want to see what Haley is doing.
Aww.
So then so I understand people wanted you to be a part of the thing because I wanted you to be part of our thing.
I know, I got an official intro.
You got an official intro, yeah, and I'm more than willing to cut Dal out of it entirely. And
I feel like Dal's supportive of that.
He look. If you know Dal, you understand how much he cares about none of this. Dal has told everyone who works for us time and again he is not their friend, and they're all fine with it. Dal has told everyone listening he would rather have you on this show than him. And full disclosure, he has not listened to your episode. He doesn't listen to these. He talks through these. He doesn't listen to me while I'm talking on these episodes. It's fine. It's fine. Half the time when we start recording, it was a little behind the scenes, and I don't have a plan for the episode, I need to rile him up so he goes off on something, and I call that content. So if I can get him annoyed about a thing that he'll do a deep dive into, then I can react to him reacting to it. And then sometimes we pull out gold from those episodes. But
that's amazing.
I would say people would be shocked, but they would not be shocked to know how little preparation there is for these podcasts. And the more preparation I have, the worse the episodes are. When I come in with a list of topics, we burn through them too quickly because there's so much of them. Like, we got to the next one.
I feel like we had an agenda.
Well, you asked me what I was going to ask you, and I gave you like 2 sentences. And then what was the third thing I said? And it doesn't matter because we're just going to talk.
Yeah.
Because that's how it goes. Like, the week before you were on last time, Marvel editor Will Moss was on. Mm-hmm. And I didn't tell Will a single thing we're going to talk about because Will used to go to school in Chicago, so I've known him for 20 some odd years. So he's the editor behind Jason Aaron's Thor and Squirrel Girl and Defenders, all this stuff. So I've known Will forever. So I knew I could just be like, "Hey man, how's it going?" And a conversation just ensued. So people have several times, more than twice, people have told me that I'm a good interviewer, and I say each time, I'm not. David Harper from Off Panel is a stellar interviewer because that dude does hours of research before his podcast. And he has thoughtful, insightful, thorough questions. And I just say, what's going on?
There is really an art to interviewing. I'm still trying to learn that as I'm interviewing people like Chicago comic shops.
Sure.
I interviewed Zombie Unicorn, and it was such a fun conversation. But
you have specific things you want to know about the stores.
Of course.
But it's the same thing, which is great. Like,
but
that makes perfect sense.
I'm still at this part where I'm like, it could be better.
Let me tell you this, Haley. You're never going to not think that. No matter how great it is, you're always going to think you can do better. And I'm always going to think that I can do more research. But I also think that, on the one hand, if you're like, interview podcasts is a thing we don't do often. Mm-hmm. But we'll do it if Dal's unavailable or there's just someone I want to talk to. I literally reached out to, and I'm not going to say who because it doesn't matter because they're not even comics people, but I reached out to 2 authors.
Who are the authors?
I'll tell you later.
Time. Making me wait.
Saying, like, I love your work so much. They have a new book out now. It's a superhero-themed book. A comic without pictures, if you can imagine a thing like that.
You mean a novel?
That doesn't sound right. So I reached out to their publicist and said, hey, when this book is released in the States, can I get some time with these 2 guys, or just one of them, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, whatever you have. And it took 2 weeks for them to get back, only to say, we're not releasing this book in the States. And I was crushed.
Yeah, but people in the States could still order if they order from Waterstones, Blackwell's.
Well,
you give everyone the ways to buy from the UK.
I pitched it as a retailer podcast. Like, we could get comic shops to order it, to stock it.
Oh.
That was my in with them. Because I order from Waterstones regularly.
Same.
Yeah.
They have very beautiful editions.
And I don't think it's worth
sprayed edges,
their time.
signatures.
Yeah, I only
better cover art than the
all,
US.
all the signatures. That's why I get from Waterstones. They're all signed books. And I don't think.
I feel like
Contest
I just
of
whispered
Challengers,
that in a way.
yeah.
It was like absolute.
Giving away trade secrets almost. I absolutely know that it would not move the needle from a just regular reader standpoint, because they're YA authors as well. So it's even, yeah.
I need to know.
I don't think you know them, but
I know everything.
You know what you do, and
I don't. I really don't.
Almost felt like I insulted you last week.
How so?
With a comics industry job position.
Oh.
I offered you.
Yeah. I felt so honored that you thought of me.
Sure. I needed, we'll talk about this later. I had a specific reason for the way I responded to you after that, but I'm not going to talk about it here. But anyway, the book isn't in the States, and I'm like, man, I'm not going to get to talk to these guys, and it's just a vanity thing. But I will say, anybody who listened to last episode, which hasn't gone up yet, there's a massive clue in there, and I'll leave it at that.
Guys, I can't wait to find out after the podcast.
Yeah.
After
it's
you
gonna
guys
be so
won't be
much
able
of a
to
letdown.
listen. I feel like
So much
we're
of a
really
letdown.
just like bearing the lead to all of the listeners. I feel like such a jerk.
So my point is, we don't usually. We tease them all the time. We always say
okay.
we'll do things like.
See, I'm here to just
remember
really tell
today,
you guys all of the trade secrets, whereas Patrick wants to hide everything from you. So all that is to say, I think I really would be a fabulous guy.
Apparently, main host is what I'm hearing. I need to re-edit that. Full disclosure, I asked James to just give me your name I can plug in, and he said, no, I'm going to do the whole thing so it sounds consistent. But then when he did the two different variations on your name, he did the second one by itself, and that's the one I'm using. So I'm still having to edit it back in, so it ruins this whole cohesive argument. Take that, James! No, so my point was that I don't want to bore people, the subject, with the same questions they get all the time. But at the same time, my audience hasn't heard those questions answered. So there's value in asking them the same repetitive bullshit over and over. But I also trust in my abilities enough to know that I can carry a conversation with people.
Can you?
What? There are people.
You're a good conversationalist?
There are people that not with you. There are people that I've interviewed for this podcast who, like, either A, are friends of mine in real life, who the actual podcast is like pulling fucking teeth, or
that's crazy. Especially your friends in real life. You're kind of like, did you just die on mic?
Yeah, like it stops becoming like so. This is a conversation, is all it ever is.
Is it?
But when you're stop doing that. But when I'm interviewing somebody, it's different. And so I've interviewed people who cut promos professionally for a living, and I still, at the 40-minute mark, I'm like, I got nothing left. This is dying, and I wanted to get 20 more minutes out of it. Like, I'm gonna let you. Like, I quit. I can't. I'll stop at 40 this time.
Hands in the air, walking away.
Yeah.
Exasperated sigh.
But like people who, let's say, maybe talk on television for a living.
Me. Just
can't.
kidding.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm actually.
Did you guys not know who Haley is?
I'm just derailing.
Desorting is what we call it now. That's the new definition.
Wow.
You like that? Came up with that in my own brain bone right now. Haley, remind everybody where they can find you on social media.
Oh yeah, you can find me at Shy Comic Girl on Instagram. Actually, I think there is an underscore in my name somewhere.
There is, yeah.
There is. I believe it
Shy
is.
Comic _girl.
Yeah. Wow. Me
It's
not knowing
CHI.
my own. CHI.
You don't need to
_girl.
You need to bulk up your link tree.
I have.
So people,
what do you mean?
Yeah, you have
bulk
3
it up?
things on it.
Yeah, that's purposeful.
Okay.
That's very intentional. I put like the most recent show.
Okay.
Our
link tree is vast.
Yeah, but then
I could just
no
give
one
people
wants to scroll or read.
Fine, but they can go to
You
the
are
link tree and
wrong
find
in your-
everything.
Yeah, but they're not actually clicking on everything.
It's there. I don't care.
But they're
So,
not.
okay,
But then
what-
it's like
what
a
should I-
priority call, like
Okay.
priorities and call to actions, Patrick.
Okay. Without giving me advice that you'd normally charge for,
Yes.
is it because I would just used to just direct people challengerscomics.com.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you need is there, but Linktree can give you links to everything possible.
But that's
and the
not
top one
necessary.
is challengers.
Well, yes, the top one should be challengers.
Yeah, it always
but
is.
like, for example, we'll just use my link tree
Yes,
as an
let's do
example. I have I will always keep the intro YouTube video, the girl behind the comics,
Yeah.
because say you come to my page,
Yeah.
and you're like, kind of, who is she? What is she about? I want to know more. Well, you can scroll through my grid.
It's also the main video on your page.
Yeah,
so there's
exactly.
that.
But they can click on this link tree and they can be like, I want to know who she is. Then there's the Romany House boxes with
Your
the
sponsor,
code,
yeah.
which is my sponsor. And then it's always the latest video.
But just one.
Just one. It's
Okay.
the latest one because, right, if it's the most recent video I'm uploading, that's the one I want to drive traffic to.
Okay.
And if they're curious, if they like whatever they're seeing there, they can click to my profile on YouTube and they can see more of what I've done. If I start putting every video that I've ever done, that's giving someone a lot of options. And they're like, kind of like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be clicking. And maybe they click something and they're like, I don't know, like, let me go back. And then not actually sitting and watching something. If you're giving someone maybe 1 to 2 options, you're really limiting, like, the decision making for them.
I will say that I base our Linktree off of extensive Linktree research of what other brands, not comic shops, but other brands are doing. And I felt like, oh shit, I need to put way more shit up there.
Absolutely not. I feel like they're all doing it wrong, but it's fine.
Well, in January you can tell me what to...
I'm telling you now for free.
But I mean specifically, you could look at my Linktree and say what is important and what isn't.
Yeah. Well, and in mine, I'm definitely not going to upload 18,000 links.
Sure.
For the reasons
but I mean,
that I've described.
right, but you
Yeah,
could
so.
just put your YouTube link and then they can go there and see everything else you have.
But the whole point... So, here's the reverse of not just putting the YouTube.
One of the reasons I like having Haley on this podcast is that she is not in any way bashful about telling me when I am hands down wrong in her opinion.
Facts.
No, that's legitimately true. Like I'm not just joking with you like that. I learned that last episode.
What did I say last episode? That was
People can listen. Just go back and find it.
Okay, fine.
But you're willing.
I'm going to go back and listen.
You're
I'm
willing,
going to go back and find
You're willing
it.
to push back on things.
Yeah.
And I need that.
Yeah. Well, so for example, the reason
Are
why
you
I wouldn't
on that
just
chair at all?
I am. I'm sitting on this
Okay.
chair.
Looks like you're sitting on the wall.
I am leaning against the wall
Fair.
on this chair. But so
Everybody listening knows that we are well beyond the point we should have stopped, and that we're dramatically getting to the end.
we are. I will leave you with this piece. If I just put the YouTube channel, then if I uploaded something new and I put it on, say, my story, or I make an Instagram post directing people to my Linktree, then they click the YouTube channel and they have to either maybe scroll for it or they have to kind of find it. I'm giving them access to the latest thing, which I've probably made a grid post, I've put a story, and I've directed people there, so it's so easy. It's strategic.
It's so easy. She lists 8 things that I'm never doing. It's like when someone's coming over to your house for the first time, you're like, I'm going to clean my house. I'm going to completely clean my entire, the Challenger's entire social media profiles and platforms before January.
You can't do that because, well, I mean, even if you do that, I'll probably have comments, but either way.
Haley, if there's one thing I've learned, you will have comments.
I am a deeply opinionated, but also flexible person.
Yeah, and you know what? That's why you're here.
Yes.
That's why you're permanent guest host.
That's why I got an official intro.
That's true.
I keep calling it out. People are probably very sick of hearing me say, I have an official intro.
They can just go back to the beginning and listen to it all the time.
No. Thank you for staying with us if you've listened to the end of this podcast.
James Van Asdel, as a podcaster, he believes that less is more, and you get he will record with someone for like an hour and 20 minutes, and then cut it down to like a tight 35, 40 minute show.
Are you going to do that to us?
Hell no.
Oh, I'm so
because
sorry,
what
listening.
we've learned from people is that they want longer episodes.
Really?
They want our goal is a minimum of an hour.
Tell me what you want to know, what you want to hear from me. I'll come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you have to come back. You have an intro.
I do.
I'm not.
Can I get a little icon?
I only bug James to update stuff like once every couple of years. So this is my last. I can't hit him up for a favor again. But that's not true. I'm sure he'd be glad to do it. But I try not to bother him.
I would look like such a cute little icon human person.
Yeah. Well, tell me who you want it to be by. It won't be by Scotty.
Well, but he's supposed to be my best friend.
Well, once I introduce you, then you can ask him yourself. Hey, look over there. Those are the rails that we got off of like a half hour ago. Haley, thanks for being on. Thanks for being the new official guest host. And while we don't have anything on the books for your next visit, we'll find it.
It'll be...
I feel like it's more your schedule than mine, because I am always willing to...
Here for like a Christmas
make this work. Sure,
yeah. That in my future. Your Christmas
Why not?
Bells, little reindeer, situation.
Give those tattoos some time to heal.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Maybe we'll give a reaction to a Trans-Siberian Orchestra concert.
Yeah.
Maybe, although that's a tight window between that and Christmas.
I also feel like we probably should just have a reaction video, maybe not podcast, but video to matching tattoos.
Maybe.
That needs to happen on Challengers and Shy Comic Girl.
I mean, I think we need to see what the reaction is first, because if it's just you bawling,
it's not going to happen.
I don't want that to be the thing people want.
We have to record video. I'm going to record this entire experience. Guys, watch out. There will be an entire video experience.
Fine, but we need Caitlin's permission.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
if Caitlin says yes, we will tag.
So long as you
and the reaction will be
the
good.
Work and not the person, I'm sure she's fine.
And also the reactions will be great. She's tattooed you before. I love your tattoos.
Dozens of times.
Excited to have her tattoo me.
Yep.
The reaction video will be nothing but positive. But also, I need to just document this.
Well, that might be on your page, and that might be a Linktree link for a week.
Hey, well, for only 1 week. Only 7 days.
Thank you, Haley. And thank you for listening.
Keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.